Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the city of New York. We are here today in the borough of Queens, and I'm going to be giving you guys an everything you need to know guide about the wonderful borough of Queens here in New York City. Before we jump into everything you need to know about this wonderful borough, I want to remind you guys to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a single video, because I'm literally covering every single inch of New York City, every notable neighborhood, every notable borough that you want to know about. All the locations are going to be up on my channel, so make sure you also don't miss any of the videos I've already made. There's tons of playlists on this whole entire city. As well, this video is sponsored by the B&B Backpack Company. This is bags and backpacks. They are so awesome for helping us out with the video today. More on them later, but a huge thanks to them because they are making this video today possible. So here you go. This is your guide on everything you need to know about Queens. Alrighty, so welcome guys. This is the awesome borough of Queens here in New York City. I am right now in a place called Hunters Point South. It is right by Gantry State Park here in Long Island City in Queens. This is really the edge of Queens, the entrance to Queens. It's on the border of Brooklyn. You have the entirety of Manhattan behind me right now. Well, most of Midtown. So Queens is only one of the 5 boroughs in New York City. I've already covered a bunch of the other boroughs here in New York City. You have Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan, and the Bronx, which make up the 5 boroughs. And this is only one of them, so there's so much to see and do here in the city. But back to Queens. Queens is, it's hard to describe. It's kind of like the far east of New York City. It's almost like the farther east you travel in Queens, the more diverse and interesting it becomes. Whether it's street food or temples, this borough really has it all. And as well, it is the largest borough of the 5. It's the biggest one. So there's a bunch of neighborhoods that you should visit when you come here to Queens, and we're gonna cover them all for you guys. Just so you know, the way that I usually do these guides, I break them down into sub-subjects so they're easy to digest. And sorry if I speak very fast, but we got a lot of information to cover. So if you miss anything, just scroll back, or there's dedicated videos on literally every single one of the neighborhoods that I'm mentioning here, so you can check them out in the description below and see a more in-depth review of each neighborhood if you want that. With that being said, let's begin. So let's start with Long Island City, because I am currently sitting inside of Long Island City, the neighborhood. We're just gonna mention some stuff that you should see and do here. Long Island City is a quiet residential area. You have places like this, which are Hunters Point South and Gantry State Park, which are really famous parks in New York City as well. I think that personally, out of all the places on kind of the Brooklyn, Queens side of New York City, you have the best views of Manhattan, or at least the best views of Midtown from right here in Long Island City. Hunters Point South and Gantry State Park being the 2 best places to go see stuff. As well, you have some awesome ferry ports that leave from both locations, so you can always hop on a ferry here. And in Gantry State Park, you have Long Island City Staples Pepsi Cola sign. This is like the most famous sign in Long Island City. It's what attracts a lot of tourists to the neighborhood. And breweries, that's what Long Island City is all about, just tons of breweries left and right. It is really more of a chill, laid-back area. There's not much to do here, especially if you're a tourist, but it is nice if you want to get those beautiful views of Manhattan. Moving on next, let's go to Flushing. This is pretty much as far out east as we're gonna go in Queens. It is really out there. And I just coined it the far east of Queens. It really is. Both because it's far east in Queens, and a lot of the people that live in Flushing are from the far east. Flushing pretty much takes what Chinatown in Manhattan is and multiplies it by 100. It's bigger, it's better, it's more authentic. The ethnic diversity there is crazy. You just have a lot of people from the far east. You have incredible food there and incredible East Asian styled malls. If you're a person that's traveled to Asia at all, if you've gone to Japan or Korea or really any country in Asia, you know how authentic the malls in Flushing, Queens are. The styles there, the food courts, it's just really cool. In addition to that, you have the incredible Hanma-Um-Zen Buddhist temple. This is a Korean styled Buddhist temple. I mean, the thing is full on. You got monks there. It's really incredible. It is one of the most amazing architectural things I've seen in the United States of America in general. And it's open and free to enter, and it's really like completely unknown. Not a lot of people even know about it. It is far out there because it is in Flushing, but I highly recommend checking it out. It's a gorgeous building. In addition to that, you have kind of the main sections of Flushing, which are Main Street and Roosevelt Avenue. This is where you're gonna find those big malls. You're gonna find all that great food, little tchotchke shops, whatever you really need. It's all gonna be right there on Main Street and Roosevelt Avenue. You got your old buildings and the Flushing Historical Trail, and you're just a short walk to the Corona area of Flushing, which is Flushing Meadows Corona Park, which is an incredible area by itself. So as for Corona Park, or the Flushing Meadows Corona Park area, also just dubbed as Corona, there are so many cool things to do there. It is like a huge park area just filled with attractions. To begin, you have the Citi Field where the Mets play if you want to catch a baseball game. You have the incredible Unisphere, which is sitting in the middle of Flushing Meadows Corona Park. It is kind of like the epicenter of the park. You have the New York State Pavilion, which has been featured in countless movies and TV shows. It is a super famous site as well. And right under there, you have incredible cherry blossom trees that blossom during the cherry blossom season. So if you're here during springtime, it is an incredible site to check out. You have the Queens Museum, which has an entire replica of New York City in a room pretty much. It is mind-blowing, including like planes taking off. It is so incredible inside of the Queens Museum, so I highly recommend checking that out. You have the massive tennis center, the New York Hall of Science, which is a cool science museum that is great for children, and the Queens Zoo. Let's move on to our next neighborhoods. These are Jackson Heights and Woodside. Also farther east inside of Queens, probably my favorite neighborhood in Queens. This will start you off right when you get off the train. You're gonna be dropped off in Diversity Plaza, an awesome area, which is literally just the epicenter of New York City diversity. You're gonna have every nationality you could think of walking around in this area. A lot of East Asians, but you're gonna have a lot of Hispanics, you're gonna have a lot of black people, you're gonna have a lot of white people, you're gonna have anybody that you can imagine walking through Diversity Plaza. Inside of Woodside, which is one of the neighborhoods that we're talking about right now, you have the Little Manila area. This is kind of a ethnically Filipino homogenous area. Tons of Filipino restaurants, tons of Filipino stores. If you wanna get some Filipino food, it's great. As well, back on the Jackson Heights side, you have the Little India, which is gonna have tons of Indian restaurants, tons of Hindu style, Tibetan, Himalayan style stuff. It's really cool. There's a whole street that you can walk through that really feels like you're walking around in India. Jackson Heights and Woodside are also home to the founder of Scrabble, an incredible Thai temple that I highly suggest. I cannot pronounce the name for the life of me, but I highly suggest you check it out. It is a really cool looking Thai style temple and tons of fantastic food. We're gonna mention more of that food a little later on, but there's a place you cannot miss. It's called Cinco de Mayo Mart. They have these amazing tacos that they do on Saturdays. Tripas tacos specifically will blow your freaking mind. Seriously, Jackson Heights and Woodside have to be some of the best places to get food in Queens, so check it out. We're gonna jump off the sunny side. I'm briefly gonna mention this just because it is home to Peter Parker, Spider-Man from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you wanna check it out, it is a residential laid-back area with some Greek influence, a lot more diversity as well because it is Queens and there's just a really big diverse area here, but Sunnyside is a cool neighborhood to check out nonetheless. Next, we're gonna jump off to Rockaway Beach. This is your summertime area. You can still go here in any season, it's still cool, but there's a nice ferry that'll take you here in the summer. It is a beach area, big surfing area, as well as great food and breweries that exist in Rockaway Beach. It's a huge popular destination and one of the most popping beaches alongside Coney Island in Brooklyn. Pretty close to Rockaway, we have Fort Tilden. Fort Tilden is an abandoned World War complex with a bunch of old military buildings. It is a super fun, more off the beaten track, more adventurous location for you to check out. I don't recommend it to everybody. Make sure that you do watch my video on it because we kind of go through the steps that you should take and where you can and can't go. It's definitely cool, but not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of cool abandoned buildings there that you might want to check out, abandoned warehouses and stuff, but just be very careful when you're checking it out. Next, we can bounce off to the neighborhood of Astoria. Astoria is home to awesome film studios and great food, and as well, because it's Queens, lots of diversity. Like I mentioned, Astoria is laid back, is residential. There's not much going on here. You have a few cool things that you might want to check out. There's a really cool, like, Czech-styled beer garden, as well as a museum of moving image, and no visit to Astoria is complete without your visit to the Little East. This is a part of the neighborhood that me and my friend coined Little East because it's kind of like a Middle Eastern part of the neighborhood. That being said, the Middle Eastern food is amazing there. If you want to get some delicious Middle Eastern desserts, I highly recommend trying to find yourself some knafe while you're out there. It is a delicious Middle Eastern dessert that you do not want to miss. It's absolutely amazing. You'll thank me later. As well, we have Astoria Park, which is in a giant complex park with pools, running trails, and so many different things. It's just a massive park that hangs out by some cool bridges on the water. Tons of exploration to be done there as well. You have a sculpture park, which has tons of really cool art exhibitions. The Greek community in Astoria is very prevalent and very large, and Astoria is home to like the best rated Greek restaurant in all of New York. It's called Taverna Kyklades. I haven't eaten there personally, but it is one of the most famous Greek restaurants in the city. So that'll complete the neighborhoods for Queens. There are tons of other neighborhoods in Queens. It's a very big borough. There's a lot of stuff to do here, but I think as a tourist, these are the best options for you guys. You're not gonna have much of a shortage of things to do if you're coming to Queens with all the places that I've given you and all the information. Once again, I go into more detail on every specific neighborhood and other guides, so just check out that playlist below. But we're gonna move on to our next topic. But before we move on to our next topic, I do have to tell you guys about our sponsor, B&B Bags and Backpacks. These guys are sponsoring the video today. I've actually had this bag for a while and I've really been enjoying using it. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about it because they're being awesome enough to sponsor this video and they're helping us out. And the company that helps us out is helping everybody out. So you got to make sure you guys support them. This thing is perfect for the budget traveler, perfect for the light traveler. This bag packs down into a tiny little pack. This is the whole backpack inside of here. It opens up to be huge. This bag has some awesome foam shoulder pads for ultimate comfort, high quality nylon fabric that's also water resistant. It has heat resistant zippers. That's heat resistant zippers, ladies and gentlemen. A reinforced bottom so it never breaks out. And it's not flashy, which I love about it. So it's great for travel. You don't want to have a bag that's super flashy. You want to have something that's very low key when you're traveling. And what I like about it is just plain, simple. It doesn't look extravagant. It's really awesome. It's seriously great for any traveler. And if you're visiting New York City and you're looking for a bag to buy before you come here, I highly recommend you check out Bags and Backpacks B&B's bag down below in the description. I'll have a link for you guys there that you guys can check out. Support a company that's supporting this channel, because without them, this video would not have been possible. So it's time for us to jump into our next topic on Queens. Let's talk about food. So if you're coming to visit Queens, food is probably going to be your largest attraction in the borough. There's not a lot of grandiose things to do, maybe besides Flushing Meadows Corona Park, but there's a lot of food for you to try. Like tons of it from every nationality around the world. So in the Asian food department, if you want to get some delicious dumplings, if you want to get some delicious Chinese food, go to Flushing. You're gonna have your most authentic meals there. In addition to that, if you want to get some of that delicious Filipino food, some awesome restaurants that I want to pimp out, Jollibee, obviously the famous Filipino fast food that everybody loves, as well as any of the Filipino sari-sari stores. These are convenience stores that Filipinos love to hit up. You can get yourself a bunch of little Filipino snacks and stuff. But we have House of Inasal. Just some of the best Filipino food that exists on this planet. Absolutely delicious. When it comes to Hispanic food, like I mentioned earlier, you have the Cinco de Mayo Mart that makes tacos on Saturdays. Delicious tacos. Their tripas tacos and their barbacoa tacos are absolutely mind-blowing. They will really take your breath away. In addition to that, you're gonna have tons of delicious Hispanic food. You can even hit up in Astoria some delicious Colombian food or Middle Eastern food. You jump around, get all those delicious Middle Eastern food carts. Just like I said, in the little east part of Astoria, you're not gonna wanna miss some shawarma. You wanna get yourself some pita, some falafel, whatever it is. This is the place to do it. Queens is your borough for food. You're going to non-stop be eating here. And Greek food to top it all off. You don't want to miss your Greek food, the best Greek food that exists in New York. As well, there's awesome amounts of street food all across Jackson Heights and Woodside. Whether you're getting corn or empanadas or sweets or whatever, there's gonna be street food all over the place. You're not gonna wanna miss it. I could talk about food in Queens all day, but I'll go on forever, so we're not gonna continue that part. Let's jump into our next sub-subject, which is going to be transportation. So as for transportation inside of Queens, the 7 train is going to be your best friend. I highly suggest that if you're a tourist here, you pick yourself up one of these Metro cards. You can get yourself an unlimited pass. If you're coming here for a short period of time, put yourself on a week-long unlimited pass. You can take as many rides as you want on the bus or on the subway. It's well worth it, especially if you're going so far out in Queens. In addition to that, you can take ferries across Queens. You can come to places like Long Island City and Astoria with the ferries. They're a little bit less frequent, but they're very comfortable, and they're usually really on schedule, and they have little delays and stuff. So if you're just coming across the borders on here on the river, if you want to go to Astoria or whatever, or Long Island City, the ferry is definitely the way to do it. All these rides are going to cost you $275 one way, and unlimited passes come in different price tiers depending on how long you get them for. In addition to that, you have Uber and Lyfts. Uber and Lyfts all across New York City are relatively cheap if you're not going a very far distance. As well, there's tons of options to split your rides and stuff. So I highly recommend, if you are in a pickle and you need to get around somewhere, you can get from places like Brooklyn and Manhattan to Queens and pretty cheap depending on how far you go and if you split that ride with different people. I've been able to go from Williamsburg all the way to Woodside, Jackson Heights area for 15 bucks before. If you want to get some extra discounts on that stuff, Uber and Lyft, I have affiliate links down in the description below. They'll help out my channel and you'll get a discount as well. That also goes for Airbnb if you're looking for a place to stay in Queens. But overall, your best bet with transportation is walking. Use the subway, get to the points you need to go, and just walk around Queens. Have a blast walking around, taking in the sights, sounds, and smells. Meet people on the streets. Just take your time walking around Queens because there's so much to see and do. Last but not least, let's talk about safety here in the borough of Queens. So like I mentioned before in many videos, New York City is a very safe city in general. You have really nothing to worry about, especially in the locations that I mentioned to you guys. They're all very family-friendly, tourist-friendly areas. Most of them are either residential or just safe areas in general for you to explore and come and enjoy here in Queens. So just be smart when you're traveling in general. If you're not from here, when you come here, just make sure you wouldn't do anything that you wouldn't do at home. Don't walk around alone at night. That's a given. given. If you feel like something is uncomfortable, you don't have to go there. Get yourself out of the situation by calling an Uber or Lyft. If something feels fishy to you or sketchy, don't walk towards it, don't go to it. Just make sure you steer clear of that area and you'll be generally very safe in New York City. You have nothing to really worry about. And that, my friends, is everything you need to know about the borough of Queens. I want to extend a big thank you once again to B&B Bags and Backpacks for sponsoring this video. You guys are great. This bag is great. If you guys are looking for a backpack that you want to come to New York City with, this is the bag that you're going to want to do it, guys. Check them out in the description below. Support a company that's supporting my channel because they're making this possible for me. Thank you so much, B&B, again. Love you guys for supporting this channel. And that is the end of the guide, ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer as many as I can, but start a discussion. There's a lot of New York locals that are watching these videos as well who can answer your questions down in the comments below, so just ask them. As well, if you want to get more detailed neighborhood guides, I've covered almost every single neighborhood that's been covered in this video, as well as neighborhoods in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, all over the city. So don't miss a single video by subscribing and turning on that notification and checking out those playlists down below in the description. That's going to be the end of my time here for you guys. I love you long time. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, class.